PK in the universe, and I am back again with another video. And today I'm here to discuss, how do you pronounce Evercade VS? Is it as in VS or is it versus? Me personally, I call it the Evercade VS. I've always called it that. Or, just simply Evercade. Sometimes I just refer to it as my Evercade home console, In my regular Evercade, I often refer to as the portable Evercade. Or my purple Evercade's another example. So, yeah, typically it's, just like my Evercade console, But Evercade VS, is it the correct term or is it versus? Because I have, weirdly enough, heard more YouTubers lately calling it the versus, and I don't know where that comes from, really, other than obviously VS can be an abbreviation for versus. There's multiple abbreviations for versus. There's V period, VS, and VS period. So I understand where the confusion comes from and why people call it versus, but I do think it's actually VS. And the reason is because that's what Blaze calls it. Have you ever watched some of the Blaze showcases, and videos from Evercade? In fact, I'm going to show a few clips here. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to this Evercade VS UI tour. The Evercade VS comes with a brand new user interface. The Evercade VS can support 2 cartridges simultaneously. Introducing the Evercade VS Atomic Edition.
As you can hear in all these clips from the Evercade YouTube channel, it's always called VS. It's never called Versus. I've not heard anybody from Blaze ever call it the Versus. So technically speaking, I think VS is the correct terminology. But what does VS stand for? I don't actually know. I've never seen any official word one way or the other of what VS actually stands for. In my opinion, VS is a play on versus, honestly. So, it could be versus in a sense, but actually that's still not the name. It's obviously a play on words. It's a double meaning because multiple people can play together, because there's 4 controller ports. It makes total sense. But I don't think that's what it's actually called. It's not actually called the Versus. Now, what it could actually stand for is the Versus system. I guess you could make that argument. I think it also could simply be short for video game system. And some people might be like, well, shouldn't it be VGS then? And my argument for that is, well, as far back as 1977, people have been using video game as a compound word. Even in publications, there are people who literally had video game and then in the writing actually had video game as one word. So I think there is an argument for it. Also, it could just stand for video system, I guess. Or it could stand for a number of different things. But honestly, I think there's plenty of overwhelming evidence to suggest that it's actually called the VS and not the Versus. Another thing is nobody seems to ever call the Evercade EXP the Evercade Experience, and EXP is a common abbreviation for experience. And also, EXP is a reference used often in mathematics and, of course, video game RPGs. EXP, experience points. But I never hear anybody call the Evercade EXP the Evercade Experience. So it's interesting that some people call the Evercade VS the Evercade Versus. And this is something that's been going on for ages. It's a tale as old as time, Is it pronounced NES or NES? When I was a kid, we called the SNES the Super Nintendo, It's a topic as old as time, It's like, what are we supposed to call this console, And I feel like, what the actual creators say, I think matters more. That's my opinion anyways, but what are your guys' thoughts? What do you call your home console Evercade? Whether it's right or wrong, comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay awesome in this universe. Thanks. Bye.